All right, welcome in, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive on MrBeast.
MrBeast.
The biggest YouTuber out there.
The world's biggest.
That's right. And, obviously everyone knows him for his crazy
The
videos.
stunts, the giveaways.
Yeah, exactly. But we wanted to go a little deeper, and we're using his interview on the Diary of a CEO podcast as our main source today.
Yeah, it's a great one because he gets really, really candid in that interview.
Yeah, he does. So, right away you find out how obsessed he was with YouTube.
From such a young age.
11 years old.
Yeah.
I was playing video games.
Me too.
And he was figuring out how to make it on YouTube.
Yeah, and not just messing around. He was on Skype calls for hours, dissecting other people's successful videos.
What made them tick?
Yeah, exactly. He was reverse engineering the algorithm before that was even a thing.
So as a teenager, he was already thinking like a marketer, a data analyst.
Super impressive.
It is. But here's what I find even more interesting. This intense focus started right around when his family went bankrupt.
Oh, yeah. That definitely seems to have shaped him, that experience.
You can hear it in the interview.
His drive to provide for his mom, that was a major motivator for him.
It's not just about the money.
No, it's that deeper level of needing to create financial security after a setback like that.
He actually tells this story about his mom, crying, begging him to do his homework.
Oh, wow.
And he's, so into building his YouTube channel.
What'd he say?
He basically told her, if you want my homework done so bad, why don't you just do it?
Oh, my gosh.
It's blunt.
Yeah.
But you can hear that intensity, even back then.
It speaks volumes about his commitment. That level of single-mindedness is not that common.
Especially at that age.
Yeah. Makes you wonder about the sacrifices, though, right?
Oh, totally. What impact did that have on his family, his relationships?
Right.
But then it gets even more surprising. He reveals that he's been dealing with Crohn's disease since he was 15.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Me neither. So how has he managed to build this, crazy demanding career with a chronic illness?
I mean, it's got to be incredibly challenging. Crohn's is no joke.
What are the main symptoms?
Debilitating pain, fatigue, and your immune system is just shot.
So imagine trying to run this multi-million-dollar business and deal with all that.
And the medication side effects.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it speaks to his resilience, his sheer determination.
Well, he says it's like living life on hard mode.
Right.
And he just has this matter-of-fact attitude about it.
I wonder if that challenge, actually contributed to his success in a way.
Yeah.
Facing adversity from such a young age, it can build grit.
For sure.
Mental toughness. He probably developed coping mechanisms that most people don't have to think about.
Yeah. Maybe he's just used to pushing through discomfort.
Exactly.
And finding a way to achieve his goals no matter what.
Right.
You can see that work ethic in how he builds his team, too.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He's all about having those highly competent people around him. The A players, as he calls them.
He gets it. Talent is key.
Especially in a field like YouTube.
It's fast-paced, creative. You need the best of the best to keep up.
Well, he created this culture where everyone's pushing each other to be better.
And that leads to better content and faster growth.
He actually tells this story about Tyler, a longtime employee who now leads video writing and directing.
Oh, yeah. I love that story.
MrBeast basically mentored him for years.
Yeah.
And now Tyler is making content that's maybe even better than MrBeast in some areas.
It shows you the power of investing in your people, developing their talent.
And empowering your team.
Absolutely. You got to be willing to delegate.
But to attract those top people, you need to offer them something special, something challenging.
Right. Which brings us to the purple cow analogy.
Oh, yeah. Break that down for our listeners.
Okay, so the purple cow is basically a metaphor for creating content that stands out from the crowd, way out.
It's got to be different, memorable.
Yeah, even a little weird.
He uses the example of seeing a regular cow versus a purple cow.
One's ordinary.
And the other you're never going to forget. So how does that translate to his actual content?
He's constantly pushing the boundaries, taking risks.
Massive real-life games, crazy challenges.
Those huge cash giveaways.
Yeah, it's all about grabbing your attention.
In a world where everyone's fighting for those eyeballs.
Yeah, that's the key. But what I find interesting is that he seems to get more criticism for his philanthropy than for his, more typical influencer stuff.
It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? You'd think giving away millions would be universally loved.
Right.
But there's often this skepticism, even hostility.
He even mentions getting death threats for curing blindness.
What?
While other YouTubers are getting praise for buying mansions.
It's crazy. How do you make sense of that?
It's tough. Some people maybe see it as a publicity stunt.
Maybe they question his motives.
There's a cynicism around altruism, especially when it's tied to someone with such a big platform.
Right.
But he keeps doing it. He even says that helping people actually makes him less liked online.
Wow.
But he does it anyway because it's more fun.
That's really interesting. Like, it suggests that it's more than fame or fortune for him.
Yeah.
Like, there's this genuine desire to make a positive impact, even if it costs him personally.
I think that's a good place to pause for now.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
From his early obsession with YouTube to this whole purple cow thing.
And the paradox of his philanthropy.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story. So you were saying that it seems like it's more than just fame and fortune for MrBeast.
Yeah, I think for a lot of successful entrepreneurs, there's this deeper drive.
Like what?
I mean, obviously financial success is a motivator, but the really innovative ones, they're passionate about solving problems.
Or creating something totally unique.
Right, they're playing a bigger game.
Speaking of playing big, let's talk about Beast Games.
Oh yeah, that was next level.
Massive sets, elaborate challenges, world records galore for those who haven't seen it. Can you give us a quick rundown?
Sure, so basically it was like a real-life video game competition with insane production value. He invited all these other YouTubers and streamers
to compete in these crazy challenges.
Yeah, and it was all filmed for his channel.
And they broke a bunch of world records for viewership and online engagement.
It was huge.
And he just casually mentions losing like tens of millions on the project, but having zero regrets.
I mean, it was a gamble, for sure.
A huge gamble.
But it paid off big time in terms of brand awareness.
And pushing the boundaries of what you can do on YouTube.
Exactly. It set a new standard for creator-driven content.
Like, influencers can create experiences that rival traditional media.
That's the future.
And it wasn't just a one-time thing.
No, he's already talking about future Beast games, even bigger and more elaborate.
Like, he's got to keep innovating.
Always one step ahead.
To keep his audience engaged.
He knows he can't just rely on the same old formats.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about Feels.
His chocolate brand.
Yeah, the ethically sourced one. I'm impressed by his commitment to tackling child labor in the cocoa industry.
It's a huge problem
that a lot of companies just ignore.
It would be so much easier to just go with the cheapest supplier.
Right, but he's trying to create a more ethical and sustainable model.
Even if it means sacrificing some profit.
And he's not just talking about it.
No, he's hands-on.
He went undercover with GoPros to figure out why his chocolate bars were breaking on store shelves.
That's commitment.
You don't see that from a lot of CEOs.
Especially in the food industry.
It shows he's involved in every aspect of his businesses.
From product development to quality control.
Which makes me wonder about his work-life balance.
Yeah.
That interview, it reveals a pretty intense work ethic and travel schedule.
It's nonstop.
Like, is there any time for anything else?
Well, building a successful business at that level takes a lot of time.
And energy.
It's hard to find balance, especially when you're as driven as MrBeast.
Well, he does mention his fiancée, Tia.
Oh, right.
How she understands and supports his lifestyle.
Having that strong support system is key.
It's got to be so important for someone in his position.
To have people who get the demands of his work.
And are willing to be flexible.
But even with support, he admits he's been more unhappy than happy this year.
Wow.
Because of how demanding his work is.
It's a good reminder that success doesn't always equal happiness.
Right. There are trade-offs, sacrifices.
Challenges that come with any career path.
Especially one as demanding as his.
So what can we learn from all this? What are some key takeaways?
Well, I think the biggest one is the importance of focus and hard work.
He had a vision, and he was willing to put in the time.
And the effort.
But it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart.
Surround yourself with talented people.
Delegate effectively.
Keep learning and adapting.
And he's a master of branding and marketing.
Oh yeah, he knows how to create content that resonates.
He takes risks, experiments with new formats.
He's not afraid to fail.
And he seems genuinely passionate about using his platform for good.
Even with all the criticism, he keeps giving back.
Trying to make a positive impact.
You don't have to choose between success and doing good.
You can build a business that's profitable and purpose-driven.
Exactly.
And it's not just about those big gestures.
Right.
He's building sustainable businesses, like Feels.
That's the long game.
Building something with a positive impact on the world.
Not just his bank account.
But his path isn't for everyone.
Definitely not. That level of intensity and sacrifice.
It's not sustainable for a lot of people.
You got to find a balance that works for you.
Prioritize your well-being, your relationships.
Success shouldn't come at the cost of your health or happiness.
Which leads us to our final thought.
Okay.
If someone as successful as MrBeast can admit to struggling, what does that tell us about our own pursuit of goals?
Yeah, it makes you realize that no one's immune to those feelings, right?
Like even at the top, there are still challenges and doubts.
It kind of humanizes success a bit.
And shows that it's not always glamorous or easy.
No, definitely not. But it makes us think about what success even means.
Right. Are we chasing external validation or something truly meaningful?
That's a big question for anyone, really. Whether you're an entrepreneur or just trying to figure out your path.
MrBeast's story encourages us to think outside the box.
To challenge those conventions.
Create your own unique path.
He didn't follow any formula, and look where he is.
And he's not afraid to fail.
Right. He lost millions on Beast Games.
Learn from it.
And now he's planning the next one even bigger.
That resilience is key.
And that willingness to experiment.
You're not going to get it right every time.
But you got to keep iterating, learning, adapting.
And while not everyone can or should try to replicate his level of intensity,
no, for sure,
there's a lot we can learn from his focus, his drive, his commitment to pushing boundaries.
He's raised the bar for online content creation and entrepreneurship.
He's shown you can build a successful business.
And have a positive impact on the world.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the mind of MrBeast,
here's a final thought for everyone.
What unconventional path are you considering?
What's your purple cow idea?
That thing that makes you stand out.
That might even seem a little crazy to others.
Don't be afraid to pursue it.
MrBeast's story shows that anything is possible.
If you're willing to put in the work.
Surround yourself with the right people.
And never stop innovating.
And remember, even if you face criticism
or setbacks,
stay true to your vision
and never lose sight of the impact you want to make.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
See you next time.
Oscar.